Let me ask you something. If the Miami Heat actually landed Giannis, how good would they really be? Not a take, a real answer. Because adding a former MVP to a team that already has an elite defensive anchor isn't just an upgrade. It might be the scariest two-way core in the league. So I ran the fit, the numbers, and the ceiling. To be clear, this trade hasn't happened. This is the projection. Here's the plan. First, what Giannis actually brings to this exact roster. Then the fit next to Bam Adebayo, which is the whole key. Then where this Heat team would rank in a loaded East. And finally, the realistic ceiling and the one thing that could hold it back. The stats are anchored, the projections are mine, and this is all assuming the trade goes through. Let's start with him. This is game is culture. Quick thing first, if you like what-if breakdowns built on actual fit and numbers, subscribe. It's free and it helps a ton. Now, what Giannis brings. Start with the obvious. Giannis is a nightly 27, 10, and 5, a former MVP and champion who bends defenses just by touching the paint. He's a freight train downhill, a switchable defender, and a rebounding machine. You don't slot him in as a piece. You build the whole identity around him. Drop that onto a disciplined Miami team and the math changes immediately. And the box score undersells him. Giannis is arguably the most devastating transition and paint scorer in the league. He turns every defensive rebound into a 4-on-3 going the other way, and once he's downhill, you either foul him or watch him dunk. That gravity drags help defenders toward the rim, which is the exact thing that springs open the shooters Miami would surround him with. He doesn't just score, he warps the entire floor. But raw production isn't the story here. The story is fit. Because Miami already has the one teammate who makes Giannis even scarier and who Giannis makes scarier in return. That player is Bam Adebayo, and the way these two overlap, or don't, decides everything. So let's talk about the front court. The Bam fit. Here's why it works. Giannis is at his best as a screening, rolling, downhill force. Bam Adebayo is one of the best passing big men alive and an elite defender. Pair them and you get a high-low nightmare. Bam at the elbow feeding Giannis on the roll. And on defense, two rangy, switchable bigs who can guard 1 through 5. That's not a duplication. That's a complete front court. And look at what it does for Bam. For years, he's carried a heavy two-way load as Miami's lone star big, asked to anchor the defense and create the offense almost by himself. Next to Giannis, his job gets easier and better. He becomes the connector, the short roll passer, the secondary rim protector, doing the things he's elite at without having to be the number one option every night. Giannis doesn't crowd Bam, he frees him. And defense is where this gets genuinely terrifying. Bam already anchors a top-tier defense by himself. Add a long, mobile, former defensive player of the year next to him, and Miami could trot out the most versatile defensive front court in the league. Switch everything, wall off the paint, rebound it clean. Good luck scoring on that twice in a row in a playoff series. So what does that do to the team? Miami was already a solid two-way group. My projection, add Giannis and their net rating jumps from good to elite, into the same neighborhood as the conference's best. The defense climbs toward the top of the league, and the offense gets a paint threat it simply did not have. On paper, this is a top 3 team in the East. Now I want to be fair because every projection has a but, and this one has a real one, spacing. So before we crown them, let's pump the brakes and talk about the thing that could keep this from working as cleanly as the highlight reel suggests. It's the same question that follows Giannis everywhere. The spacing problem. Here it is. Neither Giannis nor Bam is a knockdown three-point shooter. Put two non-shooters in the front court and the paint can get crowded, the exact place Giannis wants to live. If Miami doesn't surround them with shooting, defenses will pack the lane and dare them to fire from outside. The talent is overwhelming, but the spacing has to be solved or the fit gets clunky. Quick halftime note, if you want every contender breakdown with the real catch included, not just the hype, subscribe, it's free. Now, where do they actually rank? Where they'd rank. So, stack this Heat team against the East. The defending champion Knicks are the team to beat, built and battle-tested, but a Giannis and Bam core instantly vaults Miami into that conversation, a clear top 2 or 3 team, with the highest defensive ceiling in the conference. They wouldn't be favorites on day one, but nobody would want to see them in a series. put a number on it. A healthy Heat team built around Giannis and Bam projects, in my estimate, as roughly a 55-win team, right in the thick of the East's top tier. That's not a guarantee of a title, but it's a jump from solid playoff team to genuine contender in a single trade. That's the gravity one superstar brings. Now, the cost, because you don't add a former MVP for free. Miami would likely ship out real rotation players and a chunk of draft capital to land him, which thins the very depth that makes them dangerous in a long series. So, the front office walks a tightrope. Keep enough shooting and bodies around the two stars without gutting the roster to do it. Get that balance wrong, and the ceiling I'm about to describe comes down fast. The ceiling. So, what's the real ceiling? If Miami nails the shooting around them, this is a championship-level team, full stop. Elite defense wins in the playoffs, and they'd have the best two-way front court in basketball. If they don't fix the spacing, they're a very good team with a low postseason gear. My read, the ceiling is a title, the floor is a tough out. That's a swing worth making. And don't lose the big picture. Adding Giannis takes Miami from a team hoping to make noise to a team other contenders actively fear. The defense alone would be historic, and Bam finally gets the co-star his game has always deserved. The only real question isn't whether they'd be good, it's whether they'd be good enough to dethrone the champs, and that's a fun question to have. Where could I be wrong? If the spacing never gets solved, or if the cost of the trade guts their depth, the ceiling drops. And remember, none of this has happened. It's a projection built on a hypothetical. But the fit between Giannis and Bam is real, and on paper, it's frightening. That part isn't a guess. So you tell me, if Miami pulls this off, are they the new favorites in the East, or just another very good team chasing the Knicks? Giannis and Bam on paper might be the best two-way front court in the league. Drop your projection below. And we are so close to 1,000 subs, so subscribe to stay up to date.